creativity. We get free, be me, work it effortlessly. Do what you love and then allow the prosperity. You got this. Make good, make it your own. You know you got the power in your mind, heart, body, and soul to grow dreams, grow faith, grow you. Create authentically in the garden of good. Live, and love. In a garden gonna dig big and trust. In a garden gonna create, elevate, celebrate, and love. To the garden. Hey. Tonight in the garden is love. Love, love, love. That is our word for the night. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the garden. Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Steinberg, and I want to know where you're watching from. So in the comments, please, everybody, tell me where you're watching from. Love. And because I'm feeling tender, and you might be feeling tender, you know, it's been an interesting week here for everybody. And so I really want this week to be about cultivating love, being led by love. So I'm going to sing this song for you. It's one of my tunes that isn't recorded anywhere. So some of you know it from hearing it at churches that I've played it at and whatnot, but I'm going to do it a couple times. And then I invite you to sing along. Stay muted if you will, because it might be a mess if you don't. Zoom is like that. And when you sing, you trigger your parasympathetic nervous system, and this is relaxing, this is calming. Oh, and by the way, look at my love tie. This is I found this at the thrift store for 25 cents today, and this is to celebrate the love in the room. Lead me, love. Lead me on. When I'm weary, make me strong. Lead me, love, help me grow. Sorry, it's not there. Help me grow. Lead me, love. Then it's lead me home. Lead me home. Lavis, I'm singing it for you. Come on. Lead me, love. Lead me on. Lead me on. When I'm weary. When I'm weary. Make me strong. Make me strong. Lead me, love. Lead me, love. Help me grow. Help me grow. Lead me, love. Lead me, love. Lead me home. Lead me home. Let's do it again. Lead me, love. Lead me, love. Lead me on. Lead me on. I am ready. I am ready. I am strong. I am strong. Lead me, love. Lead me, love. Watch me grow. Watch me grow. Lead me, love. Lead me, love. Sing it with me. I am home. I am home. I am home. Declare it. Know it. I am home. Take a deep breath in. Let's do some breathing. Let's do some breathing for a minute. I was talking this week about triangle breathing, where you breathe in for 4 counts, you hold for 4 counts, and then you just let it out with some vocals. So you breathe in, you hold, and then you just let it out. Ah! So, you know, let's go there. Let's go all the way there tonight. We're going all the way into what love means, how we practice it, what might come up in the way of it. Yes. And if you didn't know, this is an all year thing, but I want you to feel free to hop in on at any time. If you're, I don't want you to ever feel late to the garden. I want you to come when you feel good about coming to the garden, but it is going to be separated from my own mind, just like the book, into heart, mind, body, and soul. And right now we're in the heart, which is in the wintertime, which I love. So another goal here, or, guide here for the garden, is this idea of roots and fruits. Roots are inner goals, things that we are working toward per quarter. And then fruits, outer goals. I've shared many times what mine are, but I'll share them again. My root for the heart quarter is peace. And I'm actually going to ask you to unmute and say your root if you know it. Just popcorn it if you guys wouldn't mind saying your roots.
Compassion.
Creativity.
Love.
Trust.
Peace.
Love.
Whimsy.
Love.
Creativity.
Peace.
So as we all sort of like hear each other's roots, we're going to encourage each other, hold each other accountable. And then our fruits are our outer goals, things that we're creating in the world, which we have 2 people every week that are going to share their fruits in addition to my own. And my fruit is my dollhouse. I've showed you guys my dollhouse. I've wallpapered one of the rooms with some velour fabric that I have with hearts all over it. It's for my sweetness, the room of sweetness. It's really a gift for my inner child from my adult. It's a creative project. Your fruit doesn't necessarily have to be a creative project. It could also be a way of dieting, a way of living in the world, something like that. A goal, an outer goal in the material world that you can touch and taste and feel. And then it's really important that I say this because a couple people reached out to me this week and said that they really noticed how many really talented creative artists there were in this room. And they were like, man, I'm starting to compare myself to the other people's work. And I just want to tell you, your creative expression is divine. And of course, comparison is the thief of joy, and you are loved. Listen, my favorite singers are Bob Dylan, Bette Midler, like, all around it's not about something looking a certain way. It's that pure expression of you. That's what we want here together. Yes. And so on that note, in the garden, kindness is first, but not just kindness to each other, kindness to yourself. Okay. Do not beat up on yourself because I went through the thing too fast for you. It's okay. I'm really fast. Obviously, I have clearly some kind of, I'm very excited to be here. So I can tend to rush through things. So I will try to breathe more, but just be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Look at my tie. You guys, come on. Okay. So just open you. That is my favorite acronym for joy. Just open yourself tonight to whatever we're doing, the activities that we're doing. And of course, the gardener's choice, which means you decide whatever you want to do. If you want to doodle, if you don't, if you want to cut the thing we're going to cut tonight, if you don't, if you want to sing, if you don't. The things I'm suggesting are all things that I know work for me. So take what you want and leave the rest. Camera is always optional, although we always want to see each other. And confidentiality. And yes, that is a dirty, nasty, fabulous word because it's Amy fucking Steinberg's ministry and she curses, and that's that. So get over it. Let's take some breaths. I've started to make book covers. Do you love this? Do you guys love this book cover? The thing is, I don't really want to cover my art, but I do love this. I love sewing. So if somebody wants a book cover, you let me know. I've got all kinds of different fabrics. But I'm going to use my bookmark that, is she here? My bookmark that Lisa made me. Is Lisa here? I don't know if she's here tonight. Hopefully she'll be popping in. Anyway, so love, this page in my book, my pages aren't numbered. It's in this one, but you can see that this piece right here is called Generational Healing. And this was a really powerful piece that I painted because it was this idea that, we often talk about our trauma and the stuff that we get passed down genetically, generationally, but we don't often hear about the good that is passed down generationally, the love that is necessary for us to even be here. So that painting was all about like my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my great-great-parents, grandparents, just sending the love and receiving the love. So that painting, it means a lot to me. And then on the next page, I'll just read the first paragraph. Love, I am in love with love. Love is all there is. It's my number one value. Big revelation when I figured that out, because all the crazy choices I made based on relationships, whether I was dropping out of college or moving to a new city, were all because love led the way. Romantic love. Yes, I love it. I'm not ashamed to say it. and to say that I value it greatly. I will work very hard to make a relationship work because when I love for life. And of course, we know that love comes in many different forms. I love the Greek, how they talk about, in that little paragraph, what I'm talking about is eros, romantic love. But here, what we practice is agape, right? The spiritual love, the highest love, the love that Levis was talking about being present with in all times. So I don't know about you, but this week, politically and hearing a lot of stuff that's become scary, what's come up for me is fear. And I couldn't help but think about Marianne Williamson teaching us all and teaching me that fear and love are opposites, right? So in listening to Reverend Jackie's talk this week, I was inspired she is the minister, by the way, at the Unity Church of Overland Park in Kansas City, Missouri, which is home of the Chiefs. Sorry, Kansas City, Kansas. Home of the Chiefs, they're going to the Super Bowl. And get ready for some divine doodling. Oh, we got an Eagles fan. I'm so sorry. It's going to be good. It'll be good the week of the Garden will be good the week of the what's it called? Somebody. The final football game. What's it called? Super Bowl. The final football game. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. So I want you to tap in and tune in to the awareness. Maybe you've had some anxiousness. Maybe you've had some anxiety this week. I know I have. So in listening to Reverend Jackie's talk, she spoke about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's Mastery of Fear essay. So what we're going to do is I want you to get a big, bold black if you have it. If you don't have black, purple, something dark and big and strong. And I want you to write in large letters, in any lettering you want. Leave a lot of space around it, but write the words, "Be not afraid." Be not afraid. And as you write it, say it in your mind over and over again. Be not afraid. 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 Yeah. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. So once you've got your "Be not afraid" written, I want you to take a color that represents love. For me, I'm going to pick a soft pink, and you can pick red, you can pick light purple, whatever speaks to you of love. And I want you to surround this phrase with love. Surround this phrase with love. Say, love is everywhere. Love. Lead me, love. This is some divine doodling. Lead me home when I'm weary. Make me strong. And then with that color, if you want, you can make some hearts in the space. Again, I know I go fast, so. Lead me, love. And now what we're going to do is we're going to write down the 4 things that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King says are the keys to mastering fear. So the first thing, number 1, I would say put it at the top. Number 1, face your fear. Breathe into that. We're so accustomed to, ignoring the fear or running away from the fear. Like, let's take a moment, like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King himself said, and say, and face your fear. All right, guys. Second thing that Dr. Martin Luther King says, you know what? Let's put that pen down and let's pick up a green or something I picked green because it represents the heart chakra, and we're going to add some green to this. So we're going to add some heart to this, and we're going to say, I am held. I am held. I am held by spirit. I am held. I am never alone, right? I am held. I'm held. We are okay right now, right here, right now. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. So the second thing that Reverend Jackie taught us, that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, and this is number 2, and you can put this anywhere on your page. I'm just putting it where I'm putting it. You can make it your own. Number 2 is have courage. Have courage. And I remember the first time, I think it was Etika Luckett who taught me that courage, the word courage, has the root cor, which is French for heart. So in order to have heart, in order to have courage, you have to have heart. It comes from the heart. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of fear. You don't need courage if you don't have fear. Have courage. Face your fear. Have courage. Face your fear. I'm writing, as I'm talking, I'm doodling a little bit. I'm adding some lines here. As you can see, I'm just kind of adding some doodles. You can start to doodle and think, be not afraid. Make it your own. Squiggles, lines, dots, anything you want to do to it. Be not afraid. I am not a fucking afraid. I am not afraid. Hey, I am not afraid. I'm not afraid. Breezy's making a face at me. I am not afraid. I am courageous, right? Be not afraid. We face it. We look at it. Fear is, I remember the first time I heard this phrase, fear is a paper tiger. A paper tiger. David Roth says, have courage without the rage. I love that. I love that. Okay, so number 3 that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said is our word of the day, love. Because love, it just melts everything else, doesn't it? So for the love piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a blue, because blue is the throat chakra. So love for me is how I speak. It's what I say. It's the words I choose. And I'm going to create, my choice here is to add some blue flowers to my doodle, because the blooms of my words are creative. I invite you to make some flowers and in a color of your choice. If you want to just do what I'm doing, these are, all of my things are just suggestions. If you like my guidance, take it. If you want to make it your own, go for something else. I speak peaceful, kind words. I speak peace. That's my root. My root is peace. I'm not afraid. I'm adding another blue to outline these flowers. If you want to come join me with that. There's no mistakes. It might be messy. Have fun. Let yourself, be a little messy. Get out of the lines. We're not afraid here. We're just letting our feelings come out. If feelings come up, allow them. Be not afraid, be not afraid, yeah. So these are things we can practice to master our fear. The fourth and final thing that Dr. King says is faith. You gotta have faith, a faith, a faith. I gotta have faith, a faith, a faith. So ask yourself, where is your faith? Which I'm going to allow you all right now, not allow you, but invite you to continue with your doodle, adding hearts, adding dots, whatever you want to do as I give you my tiny talk of the week. So, and just for everybody to see that I do my homework, these are the two that I did. I did this twice this week. The Be Not Afraid, I did it twice to test it out and see if it felt good. So face your fear, activate courage, practice love, practice faith, be not afraid. That was our divine doodle. You can keep doodling while I give you my titled Plant Plenty of Praise. It's one of the garden guides for me is plant plenty of praise. So I ask you today, I ask you, my friends, my gardeners of good, are you planting plenty of praise? Are you? Or are you in the fear? Is the fear ruling you? Is the fear guiding you? Or are you still sticking to the idea that, we're still gonna pray. We're still gonna praise. We're still gonna praise. I became a minister via my spiritual studies with the 12 steps first, right? I was in recovery. A lot of people here have been in recovery for one thing or another. And I remember when I first came around, my sponsor said, you got to get a relationship with God. And I was like, I don't believe in God. No, thanks. And then they started saying things like good orderly direction, group of drug addicts, whatever, all kinds of things that kind of opened my mind. And then they said, you got to start praying. Like once you start working the steps and stuff, they say, you got to pray. You got to pray. And I was like, I don't know how to pray. I mean, I grew up Jewish and we prayed in Hebrew and I just didn't know how to pray. And so she gave me this simple prayer, which I have up here. And I know you're working, but if you're wanting a simple prayer, this simple prayer, I still pull out quite a bit, but I did this every single day for many, many years. Thank you, God, for another day. Guide my thoughts, feelings, and actions and help me to do the next right thing. Thank you, God, for another day. Guide my thoughts, feelings, and actions and help me to do the next right thing. And this is the thing, y'all. This is the thing. Sometimes we don't know what the next right thing is right now. Especially right now, amen? Some of us don't know what the fuck we're supposed to do. Well, I've got it here for you. First things first, remember who you are. New Thought teachings teach us that you are the divine. There is no separation between you and God. So when I start to think, oh, life is happening to me, I got to stop, remember who I am. I am a part of this divine expression of life, and I get to choose how I want to consciously view this thing called life, yes? And I'm going to choose love. I'm going to choose peace. I'm going to choose to treat my mind like a garden. Ernest Holmes says, guard well this garden of your mind. It is God's garden of your soul. It is your garden of Eden, wherein may grow your fondest desires and hopes, blossoming into fulfillment. How beautiful is that? Ernest Holmes also says, people who think many kinds of thought must expect to receive a confused manifestation in their lives. If a garden plants 1,000 kinds of seeds, he'll get 1,000 kinds of plants. It's the same in mind. So what do you want to plant? What do you want more of? Because this teaching has taught me that what I appreciate appreciates. What I praise, I raise. And that goes forth with the idea of abundance as well, right? When I am in the flow, I'm in the current. its currency, right? When I'm open and aware of the abundance that is everywhere, we begin to manifest more of it. When we become conscious of our creativity, we become more creative. And that is sort of what the book is about, is becoming conscious of the power of the creativity. Now, I explored this woman. Her name is Florida Scott Maxwell. She was a Jungian philosopher and a woman in the early 1900s, I believe. And she said, 1950s, 1960s, life does not accommodate you. It shatters you. Every seed destroys its container, or else there would be no fruition. And this is what I think is happening in our country right now. There is an energy of trying to contain, and I just don't think it's going to happen. All right. We cannot contain all of the work that we have done, the civil rights movement, the women's movement. There's too much work that's been done. We are the seed of possibility, infinite possibility. Do not forget who you are. Bruce Lee, out of chaos, find simplicity. Out of discord, find harmony. Keep it simple. Keep it simple right now. And I close my tiny talk with a legend, a Native American hummingbird story. You may have heard it before. I love this story. I'm going to read it. It's a beautiful story as you finish up your doodle. According to an old Native American legend, one day there was a big fire in the forest. All the animals fled in terror in all directions because it was a very violent fire. Suddenly the jaguar saw a hummingbird pass over his head, but in the opposite direction. The hummingbird was flying toward the fire. Whatever happened, he wouldn't stop. Moments later, the jaguar saw him pass again, this time in the same direction the jaguar was walking. He would observe this coming and going until he decided to ask the bird about it because it seemed like really bizarre behavior. "What are you doing, hummingbird?" he asked. "I'm going to the lake," he answered. "I drink water with my beak and throw it on the fire to extinguish it." The jaguar laughed. "Are you crazy? Do you really think that you can put out that big fire on your own with your very small beak?" "No," said the hummingbird, "I know I can't. But the forest is my home. It feeds me. It shelters me and my family. I am grateful for that, and I help the forest grow by pollinating its flowers. I am part of her, and the forest is part of me. I know I can't put out the fire, but I must do my part." At that moment, the forest spirits who listened to the hummingbird were moved by the bird and its devotion to the forest. Miraculously, they sent a torrential downpour, which put an end to the great fire. The Native American grandmothers would occasionally tell this story to their grandchildren and then conclude with, "Do you want to attract miracles into your life? Do your part." This ends with a quote from an author unknown. "You have no responsibility to save the world or to find solutions to all the problems, but to attend to your particular personal corner of the universe. And as each person does that, the world saves itself. So plant plenty of praise, y'all." Yeah? Amen? Namaste? Na 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 ma ma na na ma namaste? Namaste? Is everybody seeing it now? Thank you for laughing at me, Liza. Somebody's finding me amusing. All right, go to your second color again and open it up one, right? So you got your little, you see your little heart there? And open it up one and go back to that sort of folded side. And we're going to make another heart here, a little bit smaller than your big ones. And that's going to make two smaller ones, right? Two smaller ones. And those are just going to go in here. How you doing out there, AJ? AJ's doing it in the other room. I'm going too fast. She says I'm going too fast. Okay, I'm going to slow down. Okay. Here's the one I did earlier. Here's the one that I did. So these are just two hearts that are a little bit smaller than the big ones. And now for those of you, I know there's going to be people that are fast and there's going to be people that are slower. So for those of you who are like still working on this, just keep working on this. And then for those of you who want to move on, we can make some little antennas for it. So I'm going to take some of that first color and just I'm going to just make two small strips, like to be antennas, right? 2 strips. Cut those. Just cutting 2 small strips, just like that. And then, oh, that's why this should be, that's why this is hard. This should be straighter too. Hold on a second, guys. Thanks for everybody's patience with me. See see, now this is better, easier to see. Okay. You guys, thrift store find, home is where the garden is. $1. Okay. So I've got, for these strips, I'm going to like hold my glue in my fingers and I'm going to put the end of the strip like this. You see? And I'm going to stick it underneath like that. It's kind of cute, right? A little butterfly. The other one. Stick it like that. And then if you want to get real crazy, you can add some more small hearts. Small as you can get them. For the end of the antenna. So, and the same thing, do like this. Stick it on. Like this. Stick it on. Lead me, love. Lead me on. When I'm weary, make me strong. So once you're done with your butterfly, if you've been able to make any kind of butterfly, you don't need to make anything. You don't need to make anything but the 2 hearts if you want. I want you to take a pen of some color that you like and write an affirmation around it about freedom, because I think that's what a lot of us are afraid of the most, is our freedom being taken away right now. So I am free. I am free. This is what I wrote on this one. Put it this way. I'll give you a little example. I am free. My spirit is always free. My mind chooses freedom and love. You know, I just went to see that movie, The Brutalist, with Adrian Brody, which is the story of a Hungarian Jew who comes over to the States after escaping the Holocaust. And I mean, I'm Jewish, so I'm always moved by stories of the Holocaust. But I think often about my studies of Viktor Frankl and man's search for meaning. And what he speaks about in his book is that you can find freedom even in prison. You can find freedom even in an administration that wants to take your rights away. You have to find it within. So I am free. Damn it. I am free. I choose freedom. I live freely. Whatever comes up for you about freedom. And then if you are still feeling like you want to add some flair to your butterfly, you can draw a little bit on it or just kind of make it your own, however you want to do it. This is going to go on your board. You can do whatever you want. You may be behind me. I'm going to have to learn to slow down or something because everybody's pissed off at me all the time. Every time I do this stuff. But then you guys show your work and it looks incredible. So I don't know. I am free. I face my fear, right? But I live in love. I live in love. Who here lives in love? That's what we do. That's what we do.
I live in love.
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who is the woman that wrote about the stages of grief. And she is actually the reason why we have hospice care in this country is because of her studies. And the reason why she wound up going into this work, spiritual work, is because she had gone over to the concentration camps. And I think it was the 70s. You know, people go over and tour them, you know, go see them and experience the feeling of them. And she was in a camp and she was in a sleeping area and she looked on the wall and there were all these butterflies carved into the wall. And she was moved to the point of recognizing that it was her work to do. Her work was to deal with grief and dying and death, because what she realized when she saw the butterflies carved in the walls was the resilience of the human spirit, that even locked up, knowing that gas chambers awaited you, you are still carving butterflies, because there is still this essence within us that believes in freedom, butterflies are free, right? And so each one of us has this within us, this resilience. I know this. And right now we get to really hold on for this ride over the next few years. And we need each other. We need each other big time.
Amy.
Yes.
Wasn't it Viktor Frankl who also spoke about in Man's Search for Meaning, who spoke about, well, they can take everything outer away from me,
That's
but they
right.
can't take away the way I choose to be inside.
That's right.
What is in my heart. They can never take that.
That's exactly it. Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. I took a class in college called Religion and Psychology. And we studied that book. And it was the first time I realized that I wanted to be involved in a spirituality that had to do with consciousness, because that's what that book is about consciousness, what we choose to focus upon in these times, in these difficult times. He talks about in the book his fish soup, how they would hand him, fish eyeballs, and he would savor his fish eyeball soup. Incredible. All right.
Okay. What I'm sharing is a vision I had for when I am 100, and then I made it to 100 years old. So it's a vision for the future. And I invite you to think about what vision for the future you have, because as we look at what's falling away right now, we want to have something in our hearts and minds to replace it. It was my 100th birthday. I had made it. I declared it. I said I lived to see 2059. I live to see an earth that's healthier and people that are more peaceful than ever before. I declare I will live to see this day. And here it was, the day. I'm able to write this because we made it through not just that terrible year or two, but we made it through the existential threat to life on the planet. And we made it through not warring with each other until we destroyed all of us. We made it through without utilizing nuclear weapons and biological weapons and the true weapon of mass destruction in the United States, which was the food industry. We made it through. I remember a legislative win that allowed trauma survivors and PTSD survivors to utilize hallucinogens to heal at a very deep cellular level. Mental health was given its proper attention and the stigma lessened. It became a widespread experiment that created tremendous benefit in every community. Peace descended. This medicine gave people their own best magnificent resource, their own minds and hearts in peaceful coherence. Inner peace to have the capacity to truly dream. This began an adventure on the road to humanity's recovery. In a sense, the United States became sober from greed, sober from wanton recklessness, and sober from the belief in separation. The United States woke up and noticed that being without constant purchasing, screen time, and food that was not food, that they could be alive in a completely different way. Things began to change, first in the neighborhoods where liquor stores, check cashing stations, trash, and duplicitous, destructive drug dealing thrived on every corner. They began to clean up their own abode and were no longer resigned to living in subpar conditions. So they took action, they coordinated, they beautified, they cared. When these neighborhoods began to rise, the collective lift in Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities happened before anyone who wanted to oppose it could gather themselves. The formerly oppressed were walking in their own light, and like small fires everywhere, it wasn't possible to put them out. We have a new conversation happening now. The rallying cries of climate change, social equity, racial equity, and fairness toward all people was replaced with, I want to live in a world where you feel safe and loved, healthy, and whole. We spoke these words to each other, and that idea drove us to behave in ways that solved for climate change, solved for social equity, racial equity, and economic justice. Because we were coming from this place of peace inside ourselves, which gave us access to the love that was needed to actually transform our world.
To take a moment to close your eyes and imagine yourself at 100 in a world that is how you imagine it. And I'm just going to play a little piano as you journal a little bit about what you see and what you can visualize for this country, for Canada, for Mexico, for this country, this hemisphere, for all over the globe. Allow yourself to be there. What is your particular contribution? And how does your root fit in right now? Peace, peace, love, love, peace, and love, peace and love, peace and love. I see it now, I am it now. love and light and good. Peace and love, peace and love. I know that you could probably write for a while on that, but I have a few more things I'd like to do tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break you out into 7 or 8 rooms, and give you guys the opportunity to connect with each other on maybe an aha that you had around this exercise or anything tonight. All right, I am going to now add a spotlight here, and I'm going to add for Lorraine Iverson, who is our second fruit giver tonight. And I'm going to share with you all her art. And as you see her art, she's going to share with us her roots and fruits. Take it away, Lorraine.
Okay, thank you. Well, my root is creativity. My intention, number one intention for this year was to build my creative energy, because I've been neglecting my work, my creative work, doing a whole lot of other things. So all of this work that's here is in my house. And you'll notice that it looks like there's a lot of different artists there. I used to have an art teacher that said, well, this is nice, but it doesn't look like the other thing you did. And you need a body of work. And I decided many years ago that I'm just going to be, every time I show my art, it's going to be multiple people showing their art, because I'm multiple people. Maybe schizophrenic art. I don't know what it is. But I paint what I'm feeling, and I haven't been doing it. And I finally decided this year I would get back in the studio. And right now I'm just throwing paint at the wall, throwing paint at the canvas, taking it, putting it on, taking it off, and seeing what comes out. So that's just a little bit of my art, and I'll have new things and I'll share with you later, because I have another personality that's coming out in my art. So I'll have a group show. You're muted.
I have to share with you something that happened during a generational healing thing that I just did. Somebody channeled and said that I am many different ancestors want to create through me. And I wonder if it's the same for you, right? So you have all these different energies, and it could be ancestral, right? Like in that whole bullshit about you have to have some certain style that's just, yeah, fuck
That's
that.
what I told her.
Over
I'm a
that.
group show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deal with
And you are amazing. Your art is so you. And I mean, your home is also a work of art. If you are ever in San Diego, just knock on Lorraine's door and tell her you want to come see her piece of art that is her house. It's incredible. From, oh my gosh, it's like my dream. How do you describe it? It's Spanish, right?
It's a museum to me. It's a Spanish house, yes.
Yeah.
And
so it's like the walls are terracotta kind of. How can you describe it? Describe your house for me a little bit.
well, the
It's
dining
like
room.
2-story. There's these balconies outside. Like
balconies,
it's
yeah. And
gorgeous.
I used a lot of I have a lot of when I walked in the house, it was actually decorated in French Provençal when I first saw it. And it was done by a decorator. And I'm like, sister, you did not get the energy of this house. So I've spent the last 24 years changing that, because I kind of channeled Frida Kahlo and all
It's
of the
all
colors.
over. It's, imagine that, you guys, like a Frida Kahlo house. Like you've got to go see Lorraine's house. I'm coming out in March, so I'm going to bother you. Give it up for Lorraine, y'all.
Thank you. Your room's ready, by the way.
I can't wait. I can't wait. All right, y'all. So that is our fruits and our roots, and I am now going to give away a book. And the book I'm going to give away is called Less. It's one of the best books I read last year, and it's just a fiction book, and it's freaking great. It was a Pulitzer Prize winner, and I'm going to pick normalize giving away books. If you have read a good book recently and you just want to put it back on your shelf, fight that urge. Give it to somebody. Give it to somebody on the list. I'm going to also right now just say thank you for the love offerings. And thank you for the grams. Who here has gotten a garden gram? People are sending each other things in the mail. Where's my garden gram? This week, I got from Joellen the most beautiful card, also with a generous love offering in it, but it had this in it. First of all, it had some of her drawings, some of her scraps and drawings. And on the front, I'm going to read what it said. It says, advice from a garden, cultivate lasting friendships, sow seeds of kindness, listen to sage advice. Don't let the little things bug you. Be outstanding in your field. Take time for yourself. Time. And I just love it. So, I mean, getting something in the mail, it feels so good, especially because now you guys, if you're getting mail, it's mostly people trying to sell you something or give you a loan or, some kind of bill. So getting these, these little things sent to each other is so cool. And if you're not receiving any, give some. Go to your the list. There's a list here if you haven't added your name and address to it. Maybe Angel Rose will link that here in the comments, and you can open it up in a new meeting and in a new tab, and go ahead and send out some. I went and got a roll of stamps, and I'm just going to be sending out a letter or two, just a thank you card or just a pretty picture. I thrift shop. And when I go to thrift stores, I always look for cards. I also want to say thank you so much for giving to the garden. You guys giving love offerings to me is making this all possible for me to be able to do this in addition to the other things I do, which I paint and I travel and speak and sing. So if you'd like me to come to your church also, please let me know. And the one more thing that we get to do today, if you want to do it now or later, is the affirmation card. I made this affirmation card for myself. I savor every moment of peace. I savor, because for me, love is savoring. So now I've got 4 of these. Look, I've got 4 of my, if you haven't been here and you haven't been able to make one every week, I have made one every week. It is an affirmation card for my root. So think about what you want to put on your affirmation card this week. Something having to do with love or freedom from fear. We've covered a lot tonight. Something about the future, being safe and clean and joyful and abundant for all and healthy. I loved the thing about food that Christy shared. So beautiful. Thank you so much for this good time together. Very quickly, I'm going to give you some stuff to do at home, which this was your stuff to do at home this week, was your abundant flow jar. I created this. It was just a jar and I Mod Podged it. You could use glue sticks and glue, and this is just like, I think this is a Raos jar, which, by the way, if you're looking for some really good low sugar tomato sauce, Raos is the way to go, Raos. And in this jar, I put all the things I want. A brand new water heater. You'll all be happy to know I have a brand new water heater downstairs. And I just put all kinds of things, gigs, opportunities, things I want to create, magnificent health. What do you want an abundance of? That's for your abundance jar. That's just fun. So work on that this week if you haven't. Put something in there this week. Plant praise this week. Praise and raise. I can't tell you how much it means when you say something kind to someone when you're standing in line. Oh, I like your shoes. Oh, not a shallow thing, but really notice. Plant some praise. Make somebody's day this week. You can add a flower to your garden, especially if you miss a week. Go ahead and add another flower or add another butterfly or draw a little something on your the garden that we're building every week. And then pay attention to your roots and fruits all week if you can. And again, do as much or as little as I recommend you to do here. How's everybody feeling? I'm trying to keep us here on time. We're a little bit over. I like to go for about an hour and a half. And I'm so excited about the poem that I picked out for us to have read to us at the end of our time together tonight. And it's Blair. Blair is still with us, right?
An Angel by Maya Angelou. We, unaccustomed to courage, exiles from delight, live coiled in shells of loneliness until love leaves its high, holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives, and in its train come ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient histories of pain. Yet if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. We are weaned from our timidity. In the flush of love's light, we dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love costs all we are and will ever be. Yet it is only love which sets us free.
I am so grateful. Thank you. Big shout out to Angel Rose for helping us with all the technicalities of things. And I'm going to play this outro song for you while you craft or whatever. And then I'm going to come back for just a tiny bit of hang time. So if you happen to leave during the song, I love you and I hope to see you next week. And thank you so much for gardening some good in the world today. I love you all.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Here we go. Play, pray, slay. In the dark, gonna make good today. In the dark, gonna create, elevate, celebrate, and love. I'm Amy from the GOG, Garden of Good Creativity. We get free, be me, work it effortlessly. Do what you love and then allow the prosperity. You got this. Make good, make it your own. You know you got the power in your mind, heart, body, and soul to grow.